everyone. Today I want to share with you the practice of a couple of seated poses. So we're starting with Dandasana or staff pose. So Dandasana, I'll show it from the side, is practice sitting up straight with the legs directly in front of you. You can bring the legs all the way together. And I like to take the hands and roll the thighs and buttock flesh out and back so that I can sit evenly. I can feel my sit bones on the mat and look for even pressure from the right to the left side. Lengthening the legs directly forward, pressing the back of the heels and lifting the toes up. You want to look down and see that your kneecaps are pointing directly up, and then place your hands next to your hips with the fingers pointing forward. Draw your sacrum in. Sometimes it's difficult because the hamstrings may be tight to sit upright in this pose, and you end up looking a bit like this. You see how the sacrum is kind of coming out? One way to help with that is to just take a couple of blankets, one or two, more if you need it, and just sit on top of those blankets. It's very helpful for those of us that have tighter hamstrings. So that allows that legs to stay straight, to lift the back, to draw the sacrum in, and lift the sides of the torso up. You want to be just slightly to the front of your two sit bones. It's a great pose to work on the alignment on the knees, to lengthen the hamstrings, to pay close attention to your ankles, the feet. Roll the shoulders back and lift the chest and look straight ahead. So that is Dandasana or staff pose. Next, we're going to do Upavistha Konasana. So from Dandasana, we're going to take the feet wide apart. Now you have to go to your limit here, so you don't have to do the splits with your feet really wide apart right off the bat. You can bring the feet closer to you if that's necessary. And again, the same thing applies in terms of being able to draw the sacrum in, lower back in. So if this is quite difficult to stay upright here, just go ahead and sit on a couple of blankets. You can take your hands behind you. I'm on my fingertips right now. I want to lift the chest. But more importantly, at first, I really want to observe, look at the legs. So the tendency is for the toes to fall out, for the legs to be loose here. So rolling the outer thighs in, reaching from the inner thighs to the calves, to the ankles, and pushing out through the balls of the feet is important. Looking to see what your knees do in this pose. Sometimes one knee feels like it's rolling back or it's not straight up and down. And these are things you can adjust. You can take your hands to the back of the calves and lengthen the calves flesh away from the knee. It'll help you to open the back of the knees. And sitting upright with the hands behind you, rolling the shoulders back, abdomen in and up. Or you can take your hands in front of you, just barely leaning forward to the fronts of your sit bones and still lifting the chest up. So from Upavistha Konasana, we're going to go to Badha Konasana, bound angle pose. These two poses are closely related to each other. So we're going to relax the right leg, take the right hand behind the knee, use the strength of your arms and keep your right leg soft. Bring the foot in towards the midline of the body and place the outer foot onto the floor. And then relaxing the left leg, use the strength of your left arm and bring the foot in against the right foot. Now don't worry if the pose isn't quite tight, your feet are a little bit forward. Your knees may not go to the floor. Don't jam your knees. Don't force your knees down into the pose. Just know that with practice and with patience, that flexibility will come. Then you can push down with your hands behind you, lift the buttocks up, squeeze the outer hips in, and from the femurs come forward towards your ankles. So you see I move the body forward, and then keep pressing the inner heels and the big toe balls of the feet towards each other, and allow the inner thighs to release, soften towards the knee, even just a little bit. And then as you stay here, you can again lift up, squeeze the outer hips, and take the buttocks forward, closing that gap between the thighs and the calves. As you stay here, as you become more flexible, as the pose kind of opens up for you, you can take your hands and bring your ankles closer to your torso, heels closer to the groin. You can just have your hands behind you and lift your chest. Also here, if you find that you can't lift your chest and you're kind of rolling forward, again, you can sit on a couple of blankets. So support the buttocks on some kind of lift here so that you can be upright. After a few moments, you can take your hands to your knees, pull the knees up, and straighten your legs forward back to Dandasana. Push the back of your heels, and then press the thighs down and draw the knees down to the floor. So that was Dandasana, Upavistha Konasana, and Baddha Konasana.